But when it comes down to it, I'm trying to build something for my family that's stable and steady and lasting, like a legacy that if my kids want to go to law school or be an attorney, they have something to stand on and something that they can just kind of fall into if they wanted to. And then as for like business-wise, it's important for me to listen to my team. Like their goals are my goals. If they tell me they have a goal, I put that into my goals. Hey everybody, welcome to Peeling Off the Layers podcast. I am C. Mack. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. We are back, and let me just say, this is the first podcast episode of 2026. I say that proudly. You know, I'm a woman of many hats, but anyway, the reason why we are all here because I have the one and only Alisha Hyde. She is the founder and managing attorney from Hyde Legal Group. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, and we're going to get this show on the road. So today's guest is a powerhouse in estate planning and business law. Alisha Andrews-Hyde is the founder and managing attorney of Hyde Legal Group, where she helps individuals, families, and business owners across Texas protect their assets, preserve generational wealth, with building lasting legacies. Also, she's a graduate at the University of North Texas Mayburn School of Journalism and St. Mary's University School of Law right here in San Antonio, Texas. Alisha combines sharp legal strategy with a client-centered approach that makes complex decisions feel clear and empowering. And lastly, she's the rising star in National Black Lawyers Top 100 honoree. Her career reflects excellence, integrity, and impact. She's just not building businesses and estate plans. She's helping families secure their futures with confidence. Everybody, welcome Alisha. Welcome to Peeling Off the Layers podcast. Thank you. That was such an exceptional introduction. Oh my goodness. You are, thank you, but you are exceptional. Oh, like honestly, me just reading up about you and like getting to know you more in this space, I'm like, this woman has how? Oh. How did she do it? We're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about estate planning, tax planning, and intellectual properties. We're going to talk about that. But who is Alisha? I feel like that's what people want to know. The woman behind the empire, the woman behind the CEO title. Oh, thank you. Thank you again for that introduction. So I think this is such an important question, right? Because, and I always say this, especially in like this season of my life when I just had another baby. So I'm both a new mom and an experienced mom at the same time. And I feel like that postpartum period, you can get so wrapped up in like serving others, your work, your kids, to the point where you're just like pouring everything out and you're like, okay, well, who am I? Who am I actually? So I would say, first of all, I am definitely a child of God. I know who I serve all the time. That is foremost in everything that I do and everything that I teach my children. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. We have a few businesses, so I'm an entrepreneur. Those things all are guiding lights in my life. I sat and I thought like, oh, well, I wonder what my hobbies are, but I don't know. That's hard because sometimes you don't. You know, like, especially like when you're just fresh out of like having a baby. So you're like, I don't even have any hobbies right now. But I think a lot of times it's like just me like raising my kids, and that's just like the season that I'm in right now. So well, you said you're a brand new mom all over again. So it's like, yes, you just had an amazing and beautiful baby boy. Yes. Right? You're learning yourself all over again because I believe once you have, I mean, you could have 3 children, you have 5 children, 10 children. It's the layers change, right? You know, right? So and that's okay. Yeah. So congratulations on that. Thank you. You are incredible. Thank you. You know, it's very important for the people who are inspired by you, the people that you impact with wearing so many titles. Was there a defining moment when you knew law was my path?
No. I don't think there was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure there ever will be a moment where I feel like law is my path. I remember growing up, one of my friends was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to go to law school. And I was like, why would you do that? That sounds awful. Like, why would you want to be an attorney? And I feel like this is just the path that God has laid out for me because it's never something that I would have planned for myself.
Right.
I never was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go to, even in undergrad,
right.
I did not plan to go to law school. I actually was in a NABJ.
Okay.
And I remember one of the older girls was like, I'm going to go into PR law. And for some reason that just kind of stuck with me. Like I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I never thought like, oh, okay, that sounds like something I'll do. When I graduated, my mom had actually gotten me a job working at elementary school. And I loved that because I always worked with kids. But I just saw like some of the people working there and they just did not look happy. And I was like, okay, this can't be it. So I was like, maybe I'll just go to law school. So I studied for the I think the LSAT.
The LSAT, yeah.
Right. And so I did pretty good on that. And then I got some scholarships to some schools. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll just be a lawyer. But it was never anything that was just like forged for me.
It wasn't your plan initially.
At all.
Like,
not at all.
Our ways are not our ways.
At all.
Okay, so let me jump to this question and then we have to go back. If you are not the successful lawyer, what would you should be doing? What would you be doing?
Okay, so before I pass the bar, right? Because you take the bar and then you're just waiting. You take it in July. You study all summer, every day. Your whole life is just studying for the bar. I remember Jordan being like, I don't know how you do this because I could not sit and study all day like this. My life was just studying. So I took the bar, and then after that, I was just kind of waiting. And I was actually selling clothes on Poshmark, and I was working at the courthouse in a paid internship. So I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I gained, like, a pretty sizable following on Poshmark. And so I would post things, and they would sell pretty quick. So I was like, oh, well, if I don't pass the bar, I guess I could just do, like, a boutique or something.
There you go. I'm
really
good at this.
Yes. And I was always, like, painting pictures. So I think I would probably, like, be some type of artist or, like, sell a clothes or something like that. Something beauty-oriented.
In the arts, I mean, again, your company now is a one-stop shop, like a boutique, as you were describing off camera, right?
Yeah.
So you're able to intertwine some of those elements in there. But you're not selling clothes, though.
Yeah, now I'm selling legal services.
Exactly. So what's something that people assume about attorneys that you just want to debunk right now?
You know what I think? I think TV lends to this. They think that we're all just, like, having these Perry Mason and OJ Glove moments or, like, aha, got you. No, it's nothing. Yes, it is not like that. Because even if you get to that point, imagine, like, how much work they had to do leading up to that. So the majority of our work is preparation. Like, you have to be prepared. You can't go into court and just, like, all of a sudden this clue drops down and you're like, oh, you know, you tell the jurors, like, oh, look, the glove doesn't fit. That is not how real life works. A lot of it is just, like, a steady grind, you know, up late, working on things, preparing, reading the law. Like, you have to be prepared. That first and foremost, that's the biggest thing. So I would say our work is probably actually kind of boring to most people.
But you make it fun. I mean, you have to make it somewhat interesting because you're passionate about it. Like, you know what you're doing. And you're helping people. You're helping families build, like, who are building legacies, who have questions, and also people who have just never entered this dynamic before at all.
That is true. And I think, like, one of my passions, right, is just educating people. So I like the client-centered part of things more than anything. So that keeps things going, you know, it keeps things interesting, talking to different people, hearing their perspectives. And a lot of mine is actually just talking to clients, figuring out what their goals are, figuring out what's important to them, and then I try to incorporate that using different strategies, working with other people on my team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not a boring job,
Right.
but when it comes to litigation and you're like preparing for something like that, it is not like all.
It's not fun and games. Like, you have to really go in there.
Yeah.
I can only imagine like how you look in court, like the when you are defending your clients, and it's a completely different ballgame. I mean, yeah, it's serious. It's a serious matter.
It is, and I do probate. So if I'm in court, which I try not to be in court too much, but if you have to show up in court in real life, it's because it's contested.
Okay.
It's because you usually, in this county, in other big counties, a lot of times you can go on Zoom, and so it's relatively easy.
Mm-hmm.
But for times that like people are arguing, then you have to go in real life. And so I have learned to just kind of listen more than I talk. I think people kind of like talk themselves into problems. And so a lot of times I'll just listen, and then when I'm spoken to, I respond, right? But other than that, I kind of just like listen, and I encourage my clients to do the same.
I like that silent but deadly approach.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. So you mentioned team. You have two other incredible attorneys as a part of the Hyde Legal Group.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So we have Pete Adams. He does intellectual property. And then we have Daylin Nyarko, and she's a tax controversy attorney. And these two people are people that they're honestly just like brilliant people. And they're good people. And that's why ask them to join the team, because if I had an intellectual property issue, or I needed to file a trademark, or I had a tax problem, I would go to these people, and we have used them before I asked them to join our team. So I think just like finding people that are a solid foundation, they're good people that have good morals, and they are client-centered. That's why I asked them to join the team, and I'm really honored to have them with us.
That's amazing. So, like, you're growing. I mean, I see more growth in your future. You see more growth in your future. When, like, you're just open to, I don't know, if the opportunity permits, if it introduces itself to you. Yeah. I'm pretty sure God led.
Yes.
You just not going to let anyone come in and be a part of the team. But that's exceptional. That's amazing. And your services that you all provide. So go down the list of what you can remember off the top of your head now. The services that your company provides.
Yeah, so we do trust planning, we do probate, intellectual property, which is really copyrights, trademarks. Pete is a patent attorney. You actually have to be licensed. You have to pass the patent bar. It's a whole separate bar you have to take aside from the regular bar. And then taxes. Daylin does taxes, payroll, bookkeeping. If the IRS shows up at your door, she's the person to call. So she's just not like a regular tax attorney. She does litigation as well when it comes to like white collar crimes. And I would say that's like wraps up, a summary of what we provide.
Everything. You all need the Hyde Legal Group in your Rolodex right now, because I'm already thinking like, wait a minute, patent? Okay, I need to talk to Pete.
Yes.
What does being the CEO of Hyde Legal Group mean to you beyond the title?
Oh my gosh. So titles aren't really important to me. I feel like that's just something that's on a business card or a website, like managing attorney of this. But when it comes down to it, I'm trying to build something for my family that's stable and steady and lasting, like a legacy that if my kids want to go to law school or be an attorney, they have something to stand on and something that they can just kind of fall into if they wanted to. And then as for like business-wise, it's important for me to listen to my team. Like their goals are my goals. If they tell me they have a goal, I put that into my goals. And so I just want to be able to build on that, to encourage everyone, to make sure that everyone feels valued and heard, and that they're in a space where they're challenged well. They have productive challenges, not something that's going to kind of like knock back your confidence. Just something a place where everyone can go and be safe, have a soft landing. It's a lot easier when you're working with people that are doing the same thing as you're doing.
Right.
And so I really want them to feel like valued and heard.
I love that because you said, you have a team, it's 3 of you all. So I'm pretty sure cases that can become high stressful situations. And, how do you handle stress, not just from yourself, if you ever find yourself in a situation like that mentally, emotionally, but when it comes to your team, everybody else involved, like, what does that look like from what you can share?
Yeah. I think for me, like high stress situations, it's really important for me to just like be still for a little bit. Again, I don't really have to go to court that much. When I do though, because there's some counties that will require you to go no matter what. And I remember recently I was in a like really high stress situation in court and I was pregnant, right? Because I feel like half my career I've been pregnant. So I was pregnant and I just remember like repeating to myself, like, you are a child of God and all you need to do is be still. Like God put you in this room and you are meant to be here. The space you're in is the space where you're meant to be. And he's already got this whole thing, conquered and figured out. So I just kept saying, like, you're fine. You're a child of God. You're meant to be here. That's right. And it worked out. It did end up being extremely high stress. But, like...
Yeah, because you were pregnant. You didn't want that to, impact the baby at all. So it's like, you do have to be still.
Yes.
And just trusting the Lord with that.
Still.
Like, he already knows the outcome.
Yes. Pray. Just, everything's already sorted out for you.
Right.
But
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So that's how you stay grounded.
Yes.
And that's how you help your team. I'm pretty sure they follow suit. Everybody has their own different ways of how they handle stress. So what's the biggest leadership lesson you've learned the hard way? Like, you know what? I'm never going to do that again.
Oh, that's a good one. Recently... I was trying to work out a situation that I felt like should be worked out, but I had to keep like revisiting it. And I think it's because like sometimes I get tired of like explaining the same thing, but you can't move on from something until it's understood by both parties.
Right.
And so I've learned, like, sometimes when I feel, from my perspective, that something has been explained, I just want to kind of, like, move past it. And then I start getting a little bit direct, like, okay, we've talked about this. But I think it's so important to just explain until you're understood. So just because you feel like you've explained this and don't want to keep talking about it, it doesn't mean that it landed with the other person. That's right. You have to understand, you have to be patient. You have to just keep explaining because it's not about like winning an argument or winning a disagreement. It's about getting on the same page.
Yes. Making sure you're heard.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other person making sure the other person is heard. I can actually see you kind of delegating a argument with your children. You and your husband. That would be so fun to see. So the entrepreneurship and growth aspect of you, what inspired you to build Hyde Legal Group instead of joining an existing firm on your own?
Yeah, so I always knew that I was going to start my own firm. Actually, 3 year in law school, there was like a class that was like marketing for solos or something like that. If you want to start your own law firm. I honestly don't remember like learning anything that would help practically.
Right.
Like, when I was in law school, I was like, okay, I'll do this and this. But when you get out into the world and you start practicing law and you haven't practiced law before, except like under the supervision of another attorney, it's way different. Like starting a business, knowing what kind of CRM to use, knowing what kind of software to use. You have to calculate in rent and overhead and all of these things. So it was way different actually starting off than what I thought and what was in the class, right?
Right.
So I think it's important to just like know what you're headed for, but already in your head, this is going to be successful. Like it's not about to be like if it works out. It's going to be when it works out. This is going to be successful. And you just got to pivot when you need to pivot. But originally my law firm actually was A. Andrews Law up until last year, I want to say. And so I wanted to build something for my kids because their last name isn't Andrews. It's not going to matter for them. I want something for like my family. So I did like a whole rebrand, which I feel like was a big
that's a big deal. Exactly.
Because you have to basically start all over. You have like SEO, your website, everything everywhere is in a different name.
Wow.
And so I was blessed enough to find a wonderful marketing person right at the time that I was doing this rebrand. Like my marketing contract was up, and it just so happened that this person was starting a new marketing team.
Yeah. Shout out to
Melissa.
Shout out to Melissa.
Yes. And it actually like just confirmed to me that everything is God ordained.
Yes.
Because the people that I've hired, our assistant, like the way that she was hired, the attorneys that I have on my team, Melissa, it's just like everything is not how I would imagine it, and it's all like falls together so seamlessly.
All falling into place. And you mentioned something about telling yourself is going to work out. Mindset is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's power in the tongue, right? But there's also power in the mind too. So what we think about, we become.
Yes.
So that is very powerful. So what's a myth about running a law firm that people don't realize?
I think that's, people think that like you have a law firm, so you're just making money constantly. We're just printing money. Money's coming out of the sky, falling down. They're like, oh, why are your prices the way they are? Because they just assume that you're making a bunch of money. But I think it's like any other business that you have. It's feast and famine, right? At some point, you're just overwhelmed with work. Mm-hmm. And at some point, there's not that much work. Like, you have things to do, but it's not like you're overwhelmingly busy.
Right.
And I've learned to just, like, be present in those times. And I've also learned that I think God gives us those times so you can work on the foundation of your business, or you can be present with your children and your family. I think, like, worrying about what's going to come next is you kind of, like, disregarding the gift that you've been given. And just, like, you have time and you should be doing something with it, whether that is, like, building up your online presence or working on your CRM or going on a walk with your kids. There's never a time that's just supposed to be wasted. You know?
Exactly. Well, with you wearing so many incredible hats, like, what does self-care look like to Alisha?
Oh my gosh. You know, I am working on, this is something I'm working on, just doing something for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm always doing something for other people. Mm-hmm. And my husband actually got a massage membership a while back. You get like an hour a month or something like that. I don't know, 90 minutes per month. I have like 23 hours on there, and I tried to cancel it, right, but I couldn't without using the hours. So now I'm like,
God, because you need self-care.
I need those hours. So I've been trying to like use up those hours. Also, I have been doing like a personal training class with my friend Madeline. Shout out to Madeline. She's an amazing personal trainer. And then I've been doing Pilates. I've been doing that for a while. But somehow, like, self-care for me has turned into, like, exercise, which is not what I imagined it being.
I mean, the body has to keep moving or it's going to stop moving, right?
So I want it to be something else. I don't know.
It can be whatever it is that you want it to be. And sometimes self-care isn't going to the spa. Self-care is not answering the phone. Self-care is sitting in the car for like 20 minutes, like going for a smoothie, whatever it is that you want it to be. What was the scariest moment in your entrepreneurial journey? What has been the most scariest moment for you? If you've had any.
Don't think that I've had any.
Okay.
I'm like thinking about this hard, right? And again, like, remember when I said I knew it was going to be a success? Like, I am on the path of success. There's no other option that's gonna happen. And I always tell my kids whenever they're like, I don't want to go upstairs, it's dark, or something, you know, some type of like kid fear. I am like, God did not give you a spirit of fear. You are not fearful. You're not scared of that thing. And so I can't think of anything that's like been overwhelmingly like, I am fearful, I'm scared. And because I tell myself the same thing, like, God is unshakable, unwavering, and so am I, because God is within me. So I can't think of anything that's just been like a paralyzing.
That's right. Like, God is within her. She will not fail.
She will not
at
fail.
all. So how do you advocate for clients who feel unheard? Because remember we talked about making sure that person is heard.
Yes.
So how do you advocate for clients who feel unheard or overlooked?
In my line of work, because when I'm in court, it's for probate, a lot of times if people are arguing, it's with their family. So it's going to be like brothers and sisters or stepchildren and step-parents. And I try to like put myself out of that emotional bubble that they're trapped in, because I know grief shows up in different ways. And so it's important for me to know, first, I listen to them and I acknowledge their feelings. Whether I agree with them or not is besides the point, because it doesn't matter, to them or me, whether I agree with them. But it's important for me to show up as the person outside of that situation, because they're in it. Right. And, they've lost somebody that's really dear to them at that point. And people act different ways in that.
Emotions are running high.
They're high, So I try to advocate for them just by reminding them that this person probably wouldn't want this situation happening. Usually it's happening because somebody hasn't planned. Because if you had a will or a trust or something, there wouldn't be this argument. Right. So I also emphasize, not to them of course, but this is the reason why I emphasize planning. It's really important because grief turns into conflict when there's no planning. And so to avoid that situation and to avoid putting people in this situation, then you have to just plan accordingly. But other than that, because at that point, that hasn't happened, right? Right. So I just try to advocate for them in a way that is like that I feel would honor that person, even though I've never met this person. But they would not want these people in this situation arguing about whatever it is that they're arguing about. So first I listen, and then I try to be outside of that, because all the time people want to like suck you into their emotions and tell you their side. Don't you understand why I'm so mad? Don't you see what they're doing? Yes. And so I understand, but at the same time we have to come to a resolution. And so I try to remind them, like, that's not going to help. Like, you talking to them that way isn't going to help. And so I think just, like, standing outside of that and, using what I know about the law, I think that's what I do to show up.
I can already see you, like, calming down the most frustrated client, because you have such a calming spirit. So if there was something about to take place, you would, like, you're the perfect person to represent,
thank you.
Like to just help. I mean, so have you ever taken a case that deeply changed you?
I would say the first time I had to go to court, like step into court, it was actually a motion for summary judgment in this case. That was like, I don't know, it was part principle and then part, I really want to help this person. And if that summary judgment, if I lost, the case would be dismissed. So it was pretty high stakes as far as like being a young attorney and being the first case. Now I'm in this courtroom. And in Bexar County, there's a system called presiding court. You go into that courtroom and you kind of get like farmed out to another judge. And so I went into presiding court and I sat down in the jury box. This is like where the attorneys sit down. And I am one of the only women in there, of course. It's like mostly white men, like the law is. And the person behind me turns out to be opposing counsel. And he like leaned forward and he was like, do you actually think that you're going to win? And it kind of was like, taken aback, right? Right. And so I was like, well, I guess we'll see. And so we got put into the court, and he presented his case, and so then I presented my case, and I like brought up the case law to the judge and gave him a copy, and the judge ruled in my favor. And so I was like, okay. And that's like at that moment I realized like I'm meant to be here. Yes. Regardless that I am not a man and I'm not white. Right. And so that at that moment I was like, okay, like this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Exactly. It's like you're supposed to walk in the room like God sent you.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because I don't look like everybody else doesn't mean that I'm not supposed to be here.
Yes.
So exactly. I just love how you just you stand in your power. You stand in your identity.
Yes.
And you know who you are.
Yes.
So we were talking about planning.
Mm-hmm.
How can someone, let's even speak towards like this. There's a lot of single parents, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm a single parent. So when I think about estate planning, someone who is watching this broadcast right now and thinking, how can I get involved in estate planning? What exactly is it, and what are the steps that I need to take? They may not feel that they have the resources or the financial means, right? What would someone do? What would be the first introduction that they would need to do their research and get involved and just really start, okay, I need to start planning for my legacy?
Right. Honestly, the first thing to do is just reach out. That's the first step. I think that's the hardest part. I think a lot of times people feel so many barriers, like, oh, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know how much it's going to cost.
They feel discouraged.
Exactly.
Right.
But you don't know until you reach out.
Right.
And so I think that first meeting that you have is pivotal, because then you're like, oh, I can do this. Oh, this is what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Even I think sometimes people are kind of paralyzed by like, okay, well, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to do some research. But no matter how much research you do, it's not going to be as efficient as just talking to an attorney.
Right.
You know, because we can explain it in layman's terms pretty quickly, within like 5 minutes or so. And then at least, even if you're not ready to move forward right then, you can take what you learned in the meeting and you could start your research based on that, instead of just starting research based on whatever you assume you might need, right? So I think that's the first step. And then after that, it actually is pretty seamless, because then we'll be like, okay, well, now we'll send you this form. We'll send you a preliminary information form. You can fill out that form. Tell us who you want to be your agents, your executors, your trustees. You can figure out whether you want to do a trust or a will-based plan. And you have some type of foundation to go from there. You know the cost. You know, like, what plan you might need. And I think it's especially important for, like, single parents. Because it's you.
Right.
If something happens to you, your kids, you have to plan for them. Like, who would you want to take care of them? What do you want to leave? Do you want to set up a trust for them? It's important, especially if you have, like, minor kids, too.
Right.
And it's also super important for blended families.
Yes.
Because people never realize, like, usually in Texas, if something happens to you, it's going to go to your kids. It's not going to go to your spouse. So I think the hardest part is, like, starting.
Yeah.
And once you started.
Yeah, and having a good lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the Hyde Legal Group, I want you all to visit the website. Write this website down. It's going to be www.hydelegalgroup.com. Everything's going to be in the description box. You also are on social media.
Yes.
You all can follow them on Instagram at Hyde Legal Group. So we'll put everything in the description box. There are women right now watching this broadcast. They're watching this episode and they're like, I really want to get involved in law. I really she's impactful, she's inspiring, but I don't know what to do. What is something that you would tell a young lady right now who wants to go into law?
I would say just do it. Like, you just have to take that first step, whether that first step is the LSAT, whether you're in law school and you're just feeling a little shaken, you know, especially that 1L year. Just, like, keep going. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you'll make it to where you need to be, and you'll look back and think, like, this is how far I've come. Like, you'll be surprised at yourself. Even, like, I am a mentor in the Mentor Circle group, and I think a lot of times the mentees come in and they're, like, so excited to learn from the mentors, right? Absolutely. But I tell them, like, I learn a lot from y'all. Like, y'all are the next generation of attorneys. You come with new perspectives, new ideas, different backgrounds. You guys are a different generation than we are. They have different outlooks on things. And so I'm also inspired by them as much as they're inspired by me. I think it's a two-way street. Yeah. So I think just moving forward constantly, don't stop. don't, even if you get discouraged, because that's going to happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, there's going to be lows, but just like try to focus on getting out of that and moving forward.
I love that. I love that. Now, I know with the Hyde Legal Group, you all have so many services. You offer tax planning, intellectual property. In layman's terms, what is that?
Yes.
For someone watching who they have no idea what that is.
Yes. I think intellectual property is everywhere, right? And especially if you like have a brand or a business or anything like that. If you're just operating your business and you don't have trademarks and you don't have copyrights, if you have like some type of invention and you're out telling everybody about it and you haven't patented it, I think intellectual property is just like everywhere you look and you just don't realize it. Like the McDonald's arches, the Nike swoosh. So it's important if you're starting a brand or if you have a brand, if you have an idea, you can even trademark like an intent to use. It doesn't have to be something that is actually like started already.
So it could be something that somebody has something pending?
Yes. Like if they have this business idea and they have a name and they haven't like made shirts yet, or say like they're a retailer or something like that, you can say like, I intend to use this, and you can
go and keep it safe.
That. Yes.
That's so good.
Yes. And then taxes are everywhere. So I mean,
right.
Daily files, taxes, just bookkeeping, payroll. Tax controversy is when you usually are like maybe in trouble. So
yeah, we've seen a lot of stories out there.
If the IRS is contacting you about anything, or you haven't filed your taxes in years and now they're garnishing your wages or auditing you, she's the person to contact for sure.
Awesome. You are like a one-stop shop.
Yes.
So you're a wife, you're a mom, you are a child of God. We go to the same church.
We do.
Love it. I'm like, I see you. But, you know, we talked about what self-care looks like. What is a quote that you live by every single day, no matter what the season is, time of the year it is?
Yes.
What's a quote that you live by?
I think the quote that I live by is probably be still and know that I am God. Yeah. Because I think people are constantly moving, especially in this social media environment that we're in. They're just like constantly doing something, constantly on your phone. And it's a distraction, right? It's meant to be a distraction. Because if the devil can keep us distracted, then we won't ever focus on God.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's just so important to sometimes just stop what you're doing and be still and be in that moment and to listen and try to be like God-centered. So I try to do that each day and just have time.
Well, you do it well. And I know speaking from the phone, it is a huge distraction. We even have like that meter or that tells you how long you've been on the phone.
Yes.
Your screen time. We don't want to know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what is a word that would describe the season that you're in right now?
I would say transformation.
Yes.
I think that I'm in a transformative season in my job, in my journey, my motherhood journey, in my marriage. I think that we have transitioned from a place where like childbearing, because we're not having any more kids unless God says otherwise.
Yeah, you never know.
Look, my husband said no, so we're not having any more kids. And so, like, knowing that, now I'm in a point where I'm, like, ready to scale my business and really build on what I've built before, because before I knew I was probably going to have more children, and then I'm going to stop working for a little bit, I'm going to have, like, maternity leave, but there's no more of that.
No.
So I just feel like it's in a transformative stage for me.
And with transformation, there's beauty in that.
Yes.
No matter how many times you pivot,
you're
always transforming, right?
Yeah.
In 10 years, where do you see Hyde Legal Group?
So I'm actually trying to grow into like different cities in different states. We have some attorneys that we work with in different states, and so I'm hoping to open up some offices outside of Texas, some offices around Texas, hire associates for each of our legal fields. And so I really imagine this being like a period of growth. And in 10 years, I think we'll have really grown a lot.
So you are the founder and CEO of Hyde Legal Group, and you're celebrating 10 years.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Yes, I feel accomplished.
Major accomplishment.
I feel accomplished as a parent and as a business owner, just because I've had 4 kids within this 10 years. And that has been something that's shaped who I am as an attorney. And as building this business, I've had to pivot. I did a rebrand.
Yes.
We now provide services in estate planning, tax planning, and intellectual property. So we've really grown within these 10 years. And I'm really proud of that.
You should be. 10 years. And in 10 years from now, you're going to be in so many other different states.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I received that.
Yes. So if you never know, there could be someone watching right now who may be interested. What's something that they could do?
They could reach out. I'm always open to.
I'm trying to help.
I'm always open to adding to the team. I'm always open to seeing how the energies align with the people on our team. I have people that I have my eye on already to join at the right time. And so I'm always open to helping people, because so many people helped me get to where I am. I had so many mentors. I had so many people just speak life into me and say, oh, well, maybe you should be doing this. Right. Even estate planning, I didn't start off doing that. Someone told me, oh, well, if you're tired of what you're doing, maybe you should do estate planning. And I even feel like that is God spoken, because they don't do estate planning. It just was something that they thought maybe I would be good at.
Right.
And so same with probate. So I am always open to helping people if they need help. I'm always open to mentoring people. I think it's really important. And I think it's one of my responsibilities to help other people, because people helped me. So,
and I love that. You said something. Okay, so you specialize in estate planning. Mm. However, estate planning was not your first specialty.
It wasn't.
It was
entertainment law. Yes.
So where did that? I know. Just going back a little bit before I let you go, the jump and that pivot. Mm. So explain what your specialty was before the pivot into estate planning.
Right. So my undergrad, I know we spoke a little bit about this before, was strategic communications. And when I was in undergrad, I was working at a music studio. And so when I started law school, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do entertainment law. Because before that, I had just been in journalism. I had been working at a studio. And so it just seemed like a natural step for me. So I did start off doing that, and I actually kind of just naturally gravitated to music. When I got pregnant with my first daughter in 2018, I can't remember if I was full on working during that pregnancy, but I know I started trying to work after. And so when I went back to doing music, it was just a lot. It was a lot of client management. It was a lot of advising people not to sign certain contracts, and they were just determined to sign this, and I knew it was just going to turn out terrible. It was a lot of NDAs being violated, and so I was like, I can't do this and be a parent. I can't be adulting for other adults and parenting my child.
Absolutely.
And so one of my suite mates actually was like, oh, well, maybe you should do estate planning, and I had never done that before. And she was like, it seems like it might be pretty easy for you to do. And that is how I actually pivoted into estate planning, because I was like, well, I don't have anything to lose, so I might as well start doing that.
And look at you now. You have the Hyde Legal Group, specializing in estate planning, tax planning, and intellectual properties.
Yes. And so if on that same note, sometimes people are in an industry or a career or a field of law, and they just feel like, okay, well, what else would I possibly do? Right. Just do something else. Yeah. Just find something that you like and start doing it. And of course, it's going to take a while to get the word out that you're doing that. But it'll get out, and if it's meant for you, you'll do it.
It will be. So you are on Instagram, you are on the World Wide Web. You all follow them, connect with her. If you are inspired at all by your story, I know I was, because you're just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Go to HydeLegalGroup.com. Also, follow them on Instagram at Hyde Legacy Group. I think I said that wrong before.
Oh, Hyde
but
Legal.
It's the Hyde Legacy Group.
It's legal.
It's legal?
My husband has Hyde Legacy Group.
Hey, well, somewhere you will be connected. Follow him too. They will all be connected. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. We have to do this again.
Yes.
So as you grow, and there's going to be new things to share, new things that you're doing, new team members coming on board.
Yes.
You're going to be in so many different cities. And
yes.
I just want to say thank you so much for the work that you are doing.
Oh, thank you.
Because we need that, especially in community. There's a lot of people with questions, and they don't know how to get started in this arena.
Yeah.
You know, and death doesn't see age. And I've said this before, God forbid, something can happen tomorrow where the family isn't prepared. So it is your best bet now. I know families don't like to have the conversations.
Yes.
But it's needed.
Yes.
So you have to reach out. You just have to plan. That's all you have to do. You just have to plan. So write some things out, and Alisha and her team will help you. I am C. Mack, the host of Peeling Off the Layers podcast, and like I always say, if the plan fails, change the plan, but never the goal. We'll see you all next time.